Welcome to Murder with the Misses. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy, and today we're going to tell you about Nicholas Kassotis.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Check out the description for the links of all of our podcast platforms, CashApp, and Buy Me a Coffee. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends.
So, we're doing this without Darren, and bear with us. We apologize in advance.
I did my best impression, but that's about all I can do.
Yes, so I'm trying to figure out how to record, how to work all this equipment. Darren is still in recovery, so I have brought in the wonderful Haley.
Me.
To take Darren's spot. Okay. You want to hear this case?
I'm ready.
It's a doozy, so good luck. Now, this case is like something straight out of a novel or a short story. So imagine that you're Nicholas. You've got a couple of law degrees under your belt. You're former Navy. You're working as a JAG at the Pentagon. That's a judge advocate general. You're writing short horror stories in your limited spare time for Reddit. And all seems good on the business side of things. But your personal life is a little bit of a different story. You have an ex-wife. She's an ex because you found that she was getting romantic messages on the Book of Faces from a man named Tony. She moved out to go live with him, but came back as type of a roommate situation shortly thereafter. She does move out again and marries Tony the day after your divorce is finalized.
1, the Book of Faces, I'm a fan. 2, that is very tough.
That is very tough. And it's only the beginning. You see, you and your ex-wife Heather bought the house that you live in using her VA mortgage rights. Now, per the divorce decree, you get to stay in the marital home, but you need to refi that mortgage because she has to come off of it. She's trying to get a house with Tony now, and you're holding up the train because her VA rights that she used to get that mortgage are tied up in your house. So you're fine with that though, okay? You're okay because you've met the love of your life on OkCupid, and this is Mindi. So you marry Mindi, but you never really get around to refinancing that mortgage. And Heather is getting a little frustrated with you. She filed a complaint with the court and gets a judgment against you. You now owe her $1.5 million. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Needless to say, she is enthusiastically pursuing you for that money. And this starts a long line of unfortunate events in your life. Suddenly, out of nowhere in 2017, things are happening. Your mail is coming up missing, and you know this because you start getting second notice letters of stuff that you never got the first notice for. You're finding nails in your tires. There's money disappearing out of your bank account. Now, Mindi handles the USAA banking stuff because you're just too busy. You're working at the Pentagon, you're looking for other jobs, and you're doing stuff at night. But Mindi had started seeing that a couple of $100 would disappear here and there, and the transaction would only say payment. Suspicious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting anonymous emails too, that your life is in danger and things of that nature. That's the word he used. So you and Mindi are afraid for your safety.
I don't know. Maybe Heather was trying to get that money.
That's what you think too. Because all this started after this judgment, right? So with the bank stuff and the mail problem, that makes those federal issues. So you file a complaint on the FBI website. Okay. Yeah. You and Mindi go to the FBI website, and there's apparently a place where you can put file a complaint. And they were like, let's do that.
Yeah, that seems like a natural first step, honestly.
Right, because...
Go for it, man. No, because I'm Nicholas.
No, yeah, I'm Nicholas, and this makes sense. There's no need to notify the local police that things are happening at your house. Your house is being vandalized. Your cars are being vandalized. But, that's not a local issue.
Mm-mm.
Let's just go straight to the feds.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So one day you come home from work, and Mindi says that a man named Jim McIntyre from the FBI has come by your house. A couple of days later, he comes back because he wants to talk to you and he's gathering up the documents, all the proof that you have that something's going on. Now, right here, we're going to go back a little bit, like How I Met Your Mother style. In the summer of 2016, a high-profile case had been made very public. One Marine had sent another Marine some classified information, and that garnered some public, outcry. And it was picked up by the Washington Post in particular. Your name, Nicholas, was on the memo. So now you're publicly known to be involved with this case. The FBI agent, Jim McIntyre, tells you and Mindi that they believe because of that an overseas hacking group was behind all the things that are now going on in your life. But there's no real danger at this time. They're just starting out, right? So it's just death threats. Not a big deal. No big deal. He's still checking in on you, though. He doesn't just leave you high and dry to wait it out and see what happens. And he even connects you with a software company. So you leave your old job at the Pentagon in February of 2018, and you start working for this software company. It's a work from home job, but you have to work 12 to 15 hours a day, which ends up being a good thing because you and Mindi were in a car accident, and Mindi was hurt pretty bad. So you're having to help take care of her.
Okay. A lot of information.
Yeah.
So he was a lawyer for the Pentagon.
Right.
But left to go work at a software company.
Right. Natural progression, right?
Oh, right.
He had a lot of different skills, apparently. So he was good at software stuff too. Cracking code. I don't know what he was doing. He said he really didn't do much at the software company, though. He said he wrote memos and sent memos, and he helped go through data software. Like, that's pretty much it. He was pretty much just clicky all day, making himself look busy.
Right.
For 12 to 15 hours. Anyways. And then he said that this company had changed names several times in the years that he worked there, and it ended up being known as Apis Limited. Now, I feel it's also important to mention here that you're Nicholas, when you get this FBI handler, it comes with some perks, apparently, because Jim McIntyre has now showed you trust documents saying that you have $34 million in a trust somewhere, but you can't really touch it. He also shows you proof that there was a $1.5 million wire transfer made to Heather. So you don't hear any more about that either. You're like, sweet, taken care of. Check that off the list. And that's how they ruled out Heather as the culprit and moved it to it being this hacking group. And they also looked into other people because you're going to see that there was other people after him at this time. But we'll talk about that a little later. Around Memorial Day of 2018, Jim McIntyre tells you that arrests are being made in your case. So you and Mindi need to leave your house for the weekend for safety. You know that this is just for safety reasons. But even after this, things escalated. And also, since your bank account was hacked, you're having to be paid in stock options and stuff. Yeah. You don't really have access to money, and you weren't getting a weekly paycheck. Mindy's not able to work. She's scared to death. She's hurt from the car accident, and she won't leave the house. So all this money is being funded by Jim McIntyre. He's providing all this for you. But in late 2019, the two of you go to a rental property west of Charlottesville, Virginia, because you're thinking of moving to that area because it's more rural and you want a rural area. But a couple of days after you get there, Jim McIntyre says he's got you a long-term rental somewhere else, and you need to pack up 2 weeks worth of stuff and leave that house for safety reasons now too.
Why would you need a long-term rental just to see if a place is worth moving to?
Right.
It sounds like they packed up a lot of their stuff too.
Right.
Because of Jim.
Right. He's like, just pack up 2 weeks worth of stuff. Well, why do you have 2 weeks worth of stuff with you?
I like that he says it so nonchalantly. Just grab 2 weeks worth of stuff.
That's a pretty legit number.
And come down to here.
He's like, it's going to be about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you should be good. Okay. Now, they just go there for a couple of days, but then Jen tells them that they're no longer safe there either and they have to move to a different house. What is happening? You're going to see a few discrepancies along the way, though. Remember that this is Nicholas's version.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you get to that rental, this is why it's not safe. Because when you get to that rental, that long term that Jim has gotten for you, it could have been that night, or maybe it was the next night. Can't really remember. but you were attacked in that rental. You were hit with a bat or a board or something from behind, and they even kicked you in the face. Right. Jim McIntyre has to take you to a clinic the next day to get checked out, and you file a police report. You didn't see the attacker, but you think it was your dad.
Right.
Ex-police chief Wayne. Now, Jim McIntyre tells you that you're being targeted by 5 of your family members. Mostly Wayne, but there's a total of 5 that are after you because you came into this money. They're just coming at him from everywhere.
From my trust.
Yes, from that trust that just randomly popped up with $34 million in it.
Of course.
But then he tells you that Wayne is not your real dad. You were taken as a child. Your mom lives in California and your bio dad lives in UK. So either way, these are not your parents. You've been lied to your entire life. And now they're trying to get your money. I don't know the reason why he was taken. That never came out. But this is the story he's being told. But either way, the location that you're in was compromised, right? So I tell you that he has to move again. And they move again. And they moved often. 15 to 20 times in just 6 months. They moved over 50 times in the next few years. Jim McIntyre would set them up with an Airbnb and sometimes only give them an hour's notice that they had to leave to go to another place. They provided you with these 2 plastic totes and you use them you use them so much that they wear out. So when they wear out, they just replace them and give you 2 new totes. I don't know why it's always 2.
I know, yeah.
Anyways, and they all communicate with each other. Like Mindi, Nicholas, Mindi's family, like they obviously don't talk to his family, but all the family members and everybody can only talk to you using either the Signal app or Proton email so that it's encrypted. Now, starting in February of 2020, Mindi was getting sick a lot. So you start keeping a spreadsheet of her symptoms because when Jim McIntyre would take her to see a doctor or to the hospital, they wouldn't be able to find anything wrong with her.
Okay. Wait, why is Jim taking her?
Exactly.
And not me, Nicholas. Why am I not taking her?
Why am I not taking my wife to the hospital? It's going to get worse than that. Safety reasons, of course. Jim would tell them he didn't want them both in the same place at the same time or their names popping up in databases, things like that. Now, he had to be told that Jim took her to the hospital in June. Jim's like, hey, I took her to the hospital and they couldn't find anything wrong with her. Okay. Because Jim had also set them up on like Medicare or Medicaid, whichever one it was. And keep in mind that this is all happening during COVID as well. She even got COVID. And as the year progresses, because of this pandemic, businesses are closing and going under. And then all of a sudden one day you get a message from your friend. She's a former colleague. Her husband owns a restaurant. And if things don't get better with the economy, she's not going to be able to keep paying for all your Airbnb rentals. So you confront Jim McIntyre. Like, hold up. I thought you was paying for all this. Or I thought this was coming out of my trust. And that's when you find out that Jim McIntyre had not been paying for all of this. He's been using your friend's credit card. And hold on to your butts. Jim's not really an FBI officer.
Okay. None of this is making sense.
I know. Tell me about it. So even though you find out about Jim, he's been lying to you. He's not with the FBI and he's an agent, not an officer. He's not an FBI agent. He's literally the major investor of the company that you work for, that Apis Limited. That's what Jim actually is. Yes. But now all your money's gone too. So this guy's lied to you and your money's gone and you've put all your trust in him. You're literally listening to everything he tells you to do and doing it without question. And then now he's lied. Now you're broke. Now you don't know what to do. I mean, you still got that money in that trust. You're still a millionaire. So everything should be good, right?
I don't know.
I know. So you move in with Mindi's brother, Frank the Fourth. He's a cop. Yay. Your in-laws have to move in too. So Mindi's parents also move into Frank the Fourth's house. You're there for about 16 months. And it's a pretty sweet setup. Remember that you're working 12 to 15 hours a day. You have basically no money. So they provide a roof over your head, food for you, food for your dog because you have a lab mix named Rusty you got when you were in Paris, I believe, or Italy. And they even take Rusty to the vet and pay for that if Rusty needs to go to the doctor. So, yeah, sweet setup. And then Mindi tells you she's pregnant. She's due in January 8th, actually, of 2023, and it's going to be a girl. So, things are starting to look up, right? So, I think right now we'll pause to hear from today's sponsor before we get into the rest of the case. Let me see if I can figure this out.
Is your washer and dryer pushing your buttons instead of the other way around? Make a clean getaway before you spin out of control.
For sheets and giggles, go ahead and call My Laundry Solutions today at 800-535-4411 if you live in an apartment. We know you're pressed for time, so you can also tumble on over to mylaundrysolutions.com, which is available 24/7. They are a wonderful company to do business with.
No credit check, free installations, all for about $1 a day.
That's sensational.
Give them a call. You won't be disappointed.
If I took a shot every time you made a joke
A
in that
pun.
ad, sheets and giggle?
Yes. Tumble on over. You see how often she listens to us?
I'm retiring after this one.
I lost her. Dang it. Yeah, go check them out. So, Mindi is pregnant, right? But that still doesn't stop Frank IV from evicting you from his house in June of 2022. You, Mindi, Rusty the dog, and Mindi's parents have to move to an Airbnb in Savannah, Georgia.
How are they even paying for that?
Well, it seems that Sony Pictures has bought one of your short horror fiction stories that you write and like put on Reddit and stuff.
Mm.
And after paying manager fees and what is it called? Lawyer fees and stuff like that, you end up with like $300,000. So you're sitting pretty right now. Jim McIntyre okayed that to go into a bank account that he thought was safe enough. So you actually have access to it. But Mindi is having a rough pregnancy. So you have to help her get in and out of bed. You're taking her blood pressure every night. She's not having an easy go of it. And this brings us to Thanksgiving weekend of 2022. Mindi's parents go out of town to visit someone else. They leave on Wednesday, November 23rd, and get back on Sunday, the 27th. But while they were gone that weekend, you leave your sick, 8-month pregnant wife home alone, and you go out to look for apartments because you can't stay in that Airbnb forever. So Thanksgiving weekend, perfect time for apartment hunting.
Right.
While out, Mindi messages you saying that she's not feeling well. She's got a ride to come pick her up, and she's going to the birthing center. No need for you to come.
This freaking guy.
She's fine.
She's fine. She's fine. Don't worry about it, Nicholas.
Yeah, don't stop what you're doing.
Keep looking for apartments.
Yeah, you're doing great. Keep up the good work. For several days after this, he gets signal messages from Mindi giving status updates on how she's feeling. You are also told to pick up a couple of days worth of stuff, right? You're Nicholas. You're told to pick up a couple of days worth of stuff, and you believe that that also came from Mindi. On Thursday, you get a phone call from the center. Mindi will be ready to be picked up that afternoon. Oh, happy day. You rock up there that evening. Now it's December 1st, and a man meets you outside. Now, you don't remember the name of the clinic or where it was exactly. You remember driving through a neighborhood and the clinic was in a shopping center kind of situation. The man takes you to an office where you are told that Mindi has passed away. A nurse had helped her to the bathroom, but got called away. And when the nurse came back, she found Mindi deceased. They would be doing an autopsy, so they're going to try to figure this out, and they're going to let you know what they find out. Now, you asked to see Mindi. I need to see her. She's my wife. I want to see her. And they tell you, no, you can't see her right now. So you have to go home and tell her parents what's happened. Now, people ask you what happened after this goes on, because they're like, oh my God, this is sudden. What happened?
Yeah.
What went down? You tell them that she had a hereditary heart condition.
Why?
I don't know. The autopsy comes in and shows that she actually had a stroke due to a heart issue that was possibly caused by COVID. Now, a couple of days later, you are sent some coordinates, right? Just randomly. You get these coordinates. And you're told to take those 2 totes. Remember, because you were told to pack up your belongings into 2
Right.
totes. You take those 2 totes to where these coordinates are. Now, you give your totes to a man that you've never seen before, and then you just go home because that's what you were instructed to do. You were told at a later date, so this was a couple days later or whatever, to bring $5,000 cash to another man you've never seen before. And in return, he hands you Mindy's ashes because she was cremated.
Okay. That makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, wait, no, never mind. I forget that it's from his point of view.
This is him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People believe this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is, yes.
$5,000 to get someone cremated is also crazy.
People do cremation sometimes because it's a cheaper option. And it's not $5,000.
No.
Right. Anyways, it's not over yet. We really need to back up a little bit again. You see, even though you can't communicate with anyone outside of the Signal app and the Proton emails for safety reasons, you broke the rules. You reached out to a woman named Samantha on Twitter. Another writer. So she writes little stories like you do. Except I think she was actually published. But anyways, you reach out to her in September of 2022. Don't look at me like that.
I'm just saying.
By November, the month your wife died,
Mm-hmm.
you are talking on the phone and you're texting. And I don't mean through Signal. I mean texting through a phone, like regular, traceable. Why? After Mindy passes away, you were told to drive from Missouri. I don't know how you got to Missouri. To Delaware for work. There's something you need to work on. And you meet Samantha in person in Pennsylvania on December 16th. 2 weeks after your wife suddenly died. Except you had told Samantha that your wife had died due to pregnancy complications in December of 2020, 2 years ago. Yes. Now, when you told her that, it was October. So that was even a month before Mindy actually disappeared.
Oh my
Or died.
gosh.
Yes. Yes, you're being sneaky. Of course, Samantha also thinks your name is Nicholas Killian James Stark, not Nicholas Kassotis. Yes. And you showed her a driver's license because she wanted to make sure she wasn't being catfished. So you actually showed her a driver's license that showed your name as that. Because I'm pretty sure when you go back and listen, if you go listen to the trial, his testimony, he went to he had Delaware, Missouri, and Pennsylvania where he had changed his name, gotten driver's licenses, done all the things. Yes.
My gosh, that's a lot.
Yes. And so he says he changed his name legally using that police report from his dad's attack when they went to that first Airbnb, remember? So he used that to get a court order from a judge to allow him to change his name because you can't just change your name. There's a process. But anyways, you get engaged to Samantha in February and you're married to wife number 3. Yes.
How many months is that?
So I think they actually got married in April. So she died at the end of November, December, January, February, March, April, 5 months later.
My God.
Yeah. Now you want to buy a house together, you and Samantha. So you pay the $50,000 E&D, that's your earnest money deposit, saying, hey, I'm legit going to buy this house. And your closing date is set for March 30th. So on the day of your closing, you go to the bank and you get a cashier's check for $860,000. Where'd that come from? Anyways, I'm questioning myself because I'm
got
Nicholas.
all this money. I just move it around.
Yeah. But on your way to the closing, your 2022 Ford Explorer catches on fire and that check burns up in the car.
Literally, what are the odds?
I'm telling you, bad luck. He's just got the worst luck. Now imagine Samantha's surprise when her husband, Nicholas, gets arrested for murder on May 12th of 2023. So a couple months after they got married, he's getting arrested for murder. Actually, it was like a month after they got married.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a long time to get here, right? Because this is Nicholas's version of events. But the state of Georgia has a very different version of events that took place. And to start it off, I'll start with the fact that they don't even believe Jim McIntyre exists.
Oh, wow.
He's not
I'm
even real.
shocked.
He's not even real.
He's not even real, guys. I made him up because I'm Nicholas.
I almost fell out of the chair. I was like, what do you mean he's not real? He's done all these things. Anyways, besides the fact, that it's just a ridiculous story, Mindy's the only person in the world who had ever seen him in real life. And she's not here to tell us if he's real or not.
Mm-hmm.
They tracked down like 20 Jim McIntyres, and only one was even in the area. So the fact that he was just popping up in all these different states all the time, just whenever. I think he told one story about how something happened and he just walked out of the house and down an alley and met Jim. Now, how Jim knew to be down that alley at that time, it's just a miracle. It's a miracle. I guess that's FBI stuff, though. But they say that Nicholas is a lying liar who lies a lot. Those lies, yeah. Those lies and deceit started snowballing on him. No one knows the real reason that he actually left the Pentagon. But speculation is that, remember that 2016 confidentiality issue that made the news? He tried one of those Marines involved, and that Marine was let go. But that Marine fought it and got reinstated. And then as soon as he was reinstated, that's when Nicholas left. So there is speculation around that. The timing is suspicious. The friend's credit card that Jim McIntyre was using, unbeknownst to Nicholas, well, she testified that after he left that job at the Pentagon, he was having a hard time financially. So she loaned him some money. Then she ended up letting him use her credit card, him letting Nicholas use her credit card, and he racked up $200,000 in debt. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when he was in court with Heather, remember, so he's in court and the judge is saying, you owe her $1.5 million and you need to pay her now. He tells them in court at that time, I have $34 million, but Mindi is holding it up. Like, I can't get it because of Mindi. It's her fault.
Okay.
Yeah. Belief is that he was running from that judgment when he convinced Mindi that they were in danger and convinced Mindi that they had an FBI handler named Jim McIntyre that was helping them. So this is supposedly what he was actually running from, not what he says. Thanksgiving weekend came. He and Mindi were alone. Now, whether you believe he just wanted to move on to Samantha, or Mindi caught him in his lies and confronted him, or maybe he found out she wasn't really pregnant, or something else. Either way, something happened to Mindi in that Airbnb. Luminol showed blood on the futon and on the floor under a rug that was Mindi's. So they know there was a bloodletting event. It wasn't a lot of blood, so he put it off as menstrual blood. Okay.
Interesting.
But that rug, when the Airbnb owner came in after Nicholas left, she saw that rug and was like, that's not my rug. And so they asked Nicholas about it. Like, she says that this rug was replaced. And he said, remember the one with the blood under it?
Yeah.
He said that Rusty had thrown up on the rug. Mindi had put it in a bag and put it outside, but he didn't get to it to clean it for a couple of days. And so by the time he did, it smelled really bad. So he threw it away and just bought a new, cheaper version of what they had.
Hey, man, come on. Leave the dog out of it.
Yeah, it's the dog's fault that I had to
Please.
replace that rug in that
Imagine
Airbnb.
lying on a dog.
Poor Rusty. What's he can't defend himself.
Exactly.
Jeez. Now, it's not long after Thanksgiving weekend, so it's on December 2nd, in fact, when some hunters were at the Portal Hunting Club in Riceboro, ready to go into the woods to do some hunting. But they found something more than deer. They found a woman's torso. A torso with arms. Within a 3-mile radius, as the police are searching, they find more. On December 3rd, they find a leg. On December 4th, they find another leg. And then on December 7th, they found a head buried.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Also in the woods were 2 plastic totes. with human blood inside, a lot of cleaning wipes, along with a Milwaukee knife that was wrapped in cleaning wipes. The problem was that they couldn't identify who this was. The dismembered body was too drained of blood, and they couldn't even do a toxicology test on it. They did know that there were 9 lacerations to her head. Her legs had been cut off across the femur bones, which would have cut the arteries, causing more blood to be expelled than normal, which would be why she had such a big blood loss. She had cuts and bruising to her chest and abdomen. She had bruising on her arms and on the back of her hands, showing that she had tried to defend herself. And they had to have an artist with the GBI, that's the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, to draw up a picture of her face that they could release to the public to try to identify her. That didn't work. Even though, if you look this up, these pictures side by side, pretty good deal. So that didn't work, so they turned to good old genealogy.
You know, that has helped out a lot these days.
A lot. It does lots of good things. And that led them to Mindy's mom. So when they get to Mindy's mom, they do more DNA testing, and they're able to positively identify that this dismembered body in the woods was Mindi. And they identified it on May 11th. That's 5 months after her remains were found. So imagine the shock when you thought your pregnant daughter died suddenly of some kind of a stroke. It's a natural thing. You can't stop it. And was cremated. But then you find out later she's actually been killed, dismembered, and left in the woods. With her head buried, by the way. Holy cow.
Oh my gosh.
Now, if you're looking at your calendar, you're going to see that Nicholas was arrested the day after Mindi was identified. So they identify her on the 11th. He is arrested on the 12th. Boom. It was a big problem to them that on August 16th of 2022, he bought Clorox wipes, latex gloves, and folding razors from Home Depot. On November 4th, he bought a shovel and a hammer. On November 28th, he bought a 7-piece knife set, is what they call it in the deal, but it's actually a deer processing kit for when you're processing a deer after you've hunted. And he bought that from the Bass Pro Shop. And then on November 29th, he bought a Milwaukee knife like the one found by the torso. They actually have surveillance of him with the knife under his arm walking out of the store.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He said he bought the deer processing kit as a present for his brother-in-law for Christmas, and that the Milwaukee knife that was found with her torso was not his. That was not mine, even though it looks exactly the same. It's the same color. It's the same everything. But no, that wasn't mine. Sorry. And also those totes that had the human blood in it, which they did identify as Mindy's blood, those weren't his either, because those have stickers on them, and they're too new. Because mine had been used for so many years, they were worn out. They definitely didn't still have the stickers on them.
He literally said that he replaced them with new ones.
He literally said every time they wear down, they just replace them with new ones.
I don't know if I don't remember saying it, but whenever you were talking about finding the blood in the totes, I was going to go, no, my worn out totes.
Not my worn out totes. No, these are new.
Mm-hmm.
Another lie. And remember his 2022 Ford Explorer that caught on fire, along with that $860,000 check? Well, he had bought that on November 29th and paid cash for it. That's the same day that he bought the Milwaukee knife. That's the same day that 2022 Ford Explorer is seen on the Public Works Building's camera on the road that leads down to the Portal Hunting Club, where he entered at 11:16 a.m. and left at noon. So he was down there for roughly 44 minutes at that Portal Hunting Club where his wife's remains were found. What? Anyways, there's a lot more to this story. Obviously, I can't tell you all the lies. I can't. There was some. I just can't. But he literally seems to believe this, or maybe he just really wants you to believe it. He's trying to convince you.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a lot. Nobody's going to know what actually happened because Nicholas obviously is in his state, whatever he's doing. But this is pretty much what you would call a circumstantial case. you can see he's going down there, but you can't see him put the totes there. You can't see him, use that knife on anything. You can't, it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
But we see it often that the totality of circumstances can weigh heavily on a jury. There's stuff you can't ignore. So the jury did find him guilty at his trial just the other day, actually. And he was sentenced to life without parole plus 25 years. Now, his parents did speak on his behalf at that trial, and they were sitting right behind him every day of the trial. So I guess they forgave him for believing that his dad assaulted him and that they stole him when he was a child.
God.
Yeah. But that's all we have on this one. It took me a long time to get there. There's a lot of details I'm not going to go into because it is a dismemberment case. The family has to go through it at trial, detail by detail, picture by picture, and see what actually happened. So you can imagine what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he managed to keep this going for so long and had all the people around him convinced that he was telling the truth. And I don't see how. Because these are outlandish stories. They're wild. But her family fully believed that this was going on and that they were in danger and that they had to move all the time and that they couldn't contact him when they needed to. And a lot of people online are calling him very gullible. Her dad was a pastor for 22 years. So they're saying that they just saw the good in everybody and they wanted to believe that he wouldn't be lying about this. Either way, it's sad. So... But that's it. That's where we are on that one. You didn't believe anything he said?
Listen, I just want to know how you get hired at the Pentagon without going through some kind of mental testing. Because there's no way this guy is he's not sound of mind. Is that the...
Yeah, he's not of sound mind.
Of sound mind, yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's not.
Well, they know he did. He was a JAG. This is legit. You can actually get the records of that and they can see he was legit a prosecutor at the Pentagon for years, 10 years, I want to say.
That's
he was
crazy.
In there. Yeah. And like I said, Navy, he was in the reserve. So he did the reserve program where you go 1 weekend a month and he was active, very active, but he was doing the most. He was doing so much. And there was a big question as to why he never vetted Jim McIntyre. So if Jim McIntyre was real and you work at the Pentagon, why are you not looking him up?
True, yeah.
You didn't. Yeah. They're you didn't see a badge, and he was like, Mindi said she saw it, so I just trusted Mindi. How you gonna blame her?
How's she gonna defend herself?
That's why he's blaming her.
Rusty said that he vetted.
Rusty sniffed him and said he smelled like FBI. So
he smells like a James.
James McIntyre. And it was so funny. Okay, it's not funny. When they were in court and he was on the stand and the prosecutor was cross-examining him, which I love this prosecutor, by the way. She was like, she went through the whole, you didn't vet him. No, you didn't do this. No. Where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Oh, I hate this brain fog. Yep. I had a good, anyway, she drilled him. We'll just go with that. She asked him, so Jim just showed up. Yeah, he just showed up. You never vetted him. No, I didn't vet him. You didn't question where all this money came from or anything else. No, I believe. He's
just handling the finances.
He kept saying, I believe this happened. I believe this person did this. I believe that. Okay, liar. Liar, pants on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, okay. I'm going to have to figure out how to end this. I've been procrastinating because I'm not sure how to stop.
Yap City.
I know. My bad. But so that's what we have on this one. If you like our content, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
And don't forget to tell your friends as always.
As always. You gotta say like your dad. As always.
As always.
There you
I
go.
Can't.
All right. We'll see you on the next one. Bye. Oh, wait. I gotta play the outro.
Later.
There we go. We'll play that while I figure out how to turn this off.
There we go.